Welcome to another episode of Mighty Car Mods. Last time we were together, you may have seen us transplant in the big stroked big block into the mud box, which was the M15A in the Jimny. When we turned the key, there was an explosion of coolant. So it's been a long day. Let's see if we can fix it or buy another engine.
At this point, we're still trying to see if there is any way that we somehow got something wrong during the installation. But there's just no way that we can see that there is anything that we could have accidentally done that would result in litres of coolant spewing out of the exhaust. It's a real mystery, but we are going to get to the bottom of it, even if it means we need to tear this engine all the way down.
We've done a little bit more investigation. I went and checked on the M13 block as well to make sure that we haven't plugged it into the wrong spot, and I don't think we have. There's a fitting there that could be vacuum or could be coolant based on where it is, but it's connected into the cooling system. So the risk was that we'd actually put coolant into the intake manifold, but guess what? There's zero coolant in the intake manifold. So we haven't filled the intake manifold, so how else is the coolant getting from the cooling system into the exhaust? And the answer is very likely a cracked block. What's your theory, Isaac?
I don't know. I mean, the amount of water that's on the floor has got me concerned. It's more like a hose. It wasn't connected. But I can't see a fitting that we've missed. Like the heater's fine.
Yep.
That reroute that we swapped over from the other motor, it seems to all be intact. Even the length and the shape of the hoses are right to where we've connected things.
Because we've swapped over the intake manifold, it's actually the same. Like this part is the same. It's only this that's different.
Yeah.
And we haven't plugged anything else into the wrong spot. So straight away I thought maybe we've plugged something in incorrectly. But even the factory hose on the M13, it's exactly that shape.
Exactly that. And I know it's like some Honda things, if you use the incorrect intake manifold, you actually leave a coolant line exposed and potentially could...
on our Civic.
On your Civic,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
I'm concerned that could be the case with this, but when I did mine, it just wasn't an issue. No, it just went straight on.
It's been done so many times, and there's no coolant in there, which means it's not getting into the intake it's not getting into the head through the intake manifold.
Because it would have poured down that way too.
And it would also have to suck the water up.
That's right.
But Isaac, here's my question. I reckon there's 5 litres of coolant on the ground.
Yeah.
Could a cracked engine block, by turning the car over for 8 seconds, spit out 5 litres of coolant?
I just don't think so.
I don't think so.
It's just like there's a barb somewhere we've missed, something stupidly obvious.
I'm dumping the oil now and just see if the rest of the coolant's in there. Oh, it's green. The oil is just green.
There you go.
The filter bucket, the funnel bucket was just bubbling away like crazy. So it was just drawing in everything that was there.
Yes.
And passing it through like a big water pump.
Yes. Oh, it was sucking the coolant in, wasn't it? Using vacuum, engine vacuum.
Yes.
So where's it getting supplied from though?
The intake manifold is really the only option.
So then it's got to be a cracked block.
Yeah. That's like a hole in a block though. We didn't see that when we had to poke it around in the sump yesterday.
Couldn't the head gasket be like catastrophically blown as well?
Yes.
That's my bet. The reason I think maybe catastrophically blown head gasket is, why was this car at a wrecker in the first place? Was it crashed? Yeah, okay, maybe. When it was crashed, did the radiator get smashed? Was the thing still running? The knock sensor looked like it had gotten really hot, which sometimes is because the thing has gotten so hot that it melts everything around it.
Yeah.
And that often cracks heads, blows head gaskets. And from the outside of the engine, you can't tell. So we just got stung by a crappy wrecker engine potentially.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I don't think it's operator error based on, there's not enough connections to get wrong here.
No, it's all pretty self-explanatory what we've done. I just can't see there being many other options.
Well, dudes, it was a great 2 days hanging out and doing it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
The result is not amazing, but it's also, we just have to slap another engine in now, don't we?
Yeah, that's it. We can turbo the 1.3.
I'm going to beep all that. What do you want to do, man? It's your vehicle. It might. You know what? You might actually need one of these. Even if it is shit.
I think there was 2 eBay listings for these engines. I bought this one. I think now I'll buy the other one.
Okay. Try our luck.
Have you tried typing K24 into eBay?
No, because there's no purity in that, man.
No, there's none.
It's too mysterious for me. The outcome is too mysterious for me to make a definitive claim on, with the limited amount of education
I'm voting
I have
catastrophically cracked head or block or head gasket from being overheated is my guess. But I could be wrong. Maybe it's something simple.
There was stuff melted on it.
Yeah.
The spark plugs were hot.
Yeah.
But this video's on YouTube, right? I mean, everything always works, doesn't it? Like, everything always works on YouTube. So maybe we can't upload this to YouTube.
No, it's just... I don't know. I'm kind of it's one of those rare times I've got nothing to say.
That is actually incredible. And on that bombshell. All right, good. Well, we're going to have to find another engine. So I'm going to go and start...
I'm going to ring these people right now.
Browsing the internets.
Because this engine has 30 days warranty. I'm going to ring them right now and say your engine's rooted.
Yeah, I think it's pretty safe to say that it is.
I mean, we all had, as we were doing it, we're all going, holy shit, like this engine looks like rubbish. And maybe that intuition, that educated intuition was actually correct.
There's nothing to get wrong. There's literally one or 2 points where coolant enters and exits the engine.
So what you're saying is catastrophic head gasket failure, and that would do this, no coolant.
Oh yeah.
And just take coolant from there into the cylinder.
It'll push
out the
water.
exhaust.
And any comp that it is making is going and sucking all the coolant out.
That was bubbling like mad as you were
was.
cranking the engine like a big water pump.
And those plugs will got wet instantly. And
Yeah. Okay.
so yeah, no coolant in it. I don't reckon it's going to start at all, or it'll sound really upset.
What we're going to do is we're actually going to run a compression test ourselves now. So we're going to, first of all, try and get rid of all the liquid that's in it just by taking the spark plugs out and turning it over and try and clean all of that out. Then we're going to, Marty's down there now disconnecting the radiator, just getting rid of any other liquid that's in there. Then we will compression test it, see what the results of that are, and if that looks reasonable, then we'll try and run the car without coolant just to see if it starts at all. I bought this engine 28 days ago. It comes with 30 days warranty. So depending on how that goes, we might call up the shop that sold it to me and have a little chat with them.
By now, we were meant to be driving the Jimny. The most disappointing thing is not the money that's been sunk into the motor or possibly not getting a refund from the wrecker. It's the days that it took to install this, all the consumables, all the time and the effort, and now all of that will have to be done again from scratch.
We have put new oil in it. It's still draining a little bit of coolant just out the bottom of the radiator. We don't want any water in this system. Now we've taken the spark plugs out. We're going to crank it because if there's any water left in the cylinders, it's going to go pa-twink. And if it doesn't go pa-twink, then it's either getting out somewhere else or I guess we're going to find out.
All right, here we go.
Hey! Oh, wow. Well, it definitely had water in it. But hey, that was specific to one cylinder, did you notice?
It was the back one.
Was it the back one?
The other spark plug was like greeny orange.
Wait, was that number?
That was number 4.
Yeah, so that's the one that's screwed.
And it went sweat.
Yeah, so that had a cylinder full of water and the others just had a little bit of schmutz.
But also, when we took the spark plugs out before, it was that spark plug that was all burnt and all boned.
That's it.
So cylinder 4's cracked.
Yeah.
It's got to be.
Yeah,
Quite an issue.
yes.
You know what I think we should do with this engine? In the bin.
Let's compression test it anyway.
Let's compression test it with some extra coolant for lubrication. This motor is completely and utterly...
I'm glad we put it in.
Yeah, same. It was fun. I mean, it was fun hanging out.
This is the one that's I'm keen to see.
Dead. She's dead.
I mean, so what should happen is you buy an engine from a wrecker, you ask for the compression test results, you hope that they've actually done it. Benny, aka Mechanical Stig, used to work at a shop and they would have to do that. They'd get half cuts out, you'd have to comp test every single one. This wasn't. Don't know why. Couldn't be bothered. Hope for the best. Maybe they have a good hit rate, but...
We're about to find out why, people, because we're going to give them a call. Oh, g'day there. I just wanted to find out about some warranty. I bought an engine from you guys via eBay and it appears to be blown, so I just wanted to chat with someone about swapping it over.
Generally, it's best to go into the eBay messages. What engine was it?
It's a M15A for a Swift, Suzuki Swift.
Rightio, and when was it purchased?
28 days ago.
Rightio, and what he mean appears to be blown. These engines are hard to kill.
And there's no compression on any of the cylinders and it's blowing coolant out the exhaust.
Okay. These engines have been steam cleaned and washed down. Sometimes they can be a bit sticky on the valves. We have suggested to a lot of people, and it seems to work, and you never hear from anyone again, to actually just to put a bit of oil down each of the cylinders overnight and just let it sit there and to soak in, because that's what can cause them not to actually fire up properly, because these things don't die. What was wrong with your first car?
Oh no, we're just swapping from a 1.3 litre to a 1.5 litre.
Can you send a picture of that?
It's all over the floor now.
But you can refill it back up.
Wow, that's like super dismissive, wasn't it?
Wow.
Like, it's pumping back to the radiator. And I know that warranty with these things is often like, we're not going to warrant our engine if you put it with a crappy old cooling system.
Yeah.
And also, he asked just then, what was wrong with your old engine?
Yeah.
As in trying to say maybe it's something else with your car, not our engine. That's wrong. But that's an odd one.
Yeah, basically what they said was that they steam cleaned the motor. That's probably why it doesn't work.
And that if we put oil down the valves, then that might free it up. But I don't know what relation that has to pissing coolant out everywhere through an exhaust pipe.
Then he also asked if the radiator was bubbling back up, which I said yes, and he said he wants to see a photo or a video of that, and I said that it was all over the floor.
So
he said fill it back up.
So
and
in
do
this
it again.
situation, you're supposed to fill your car back up and then make it piss coolant again
I think so.
to get warranty. Oh man, that's messed up. No, it's fine. It just need a bit of oil down the valves. That'll fix it. That'll bring the comp back up from 0 to 180. Especially in cylinder 2 where it was 20 psi. That's only going to come up 160. Easy. Bit more oil.
Let's send them their photo.
Should we send them a YouTube link of this video?
So everything we did, we're going to start reversing that and start pulling stuff out and
Sucks so bad.
pulling it out again. Wreckers don't sound like they're going to play ball. I thought they might go, oh, sorry, dudes, that sounds bad. But all they said was that you can't kill these engines, and then they wanted to see videos and photos, evidence.
Which there's plenty of, and when they watch this episode, they'll see it. So here's the thing, right? So say, like, lucky for us, this is a cheap engine, like reasonably cheap. Because if you'd bought a engine for my STI, it'd be like 3 or 4 grand, and the same thing could happen.
Yes.
Like, luckily, this is a cheap one. But if you ring up a wrecker that's got like a warranty thing, and you follow the warranty instructions which is new radiator, new water pump, new basically everything, which we did.
Yes.
And then when you ring up and give them a very straight like synopsis of what happened, and they say, oh, and they sort of start to doubt you, it's kind of shit, because like this could be your big mod that you're going to do for the year right before you go on a massive trip with something you've saved up all this time and effort to do, and all the money for the extra stuff that you've now got to rip apart. Or you've paid a mechanic and you've paid a couple of grand in labour.
Yeah.
Then what? Like this happens to people. I mean, we've been pretty lucky with like wrecker engines in the past. Like Too Sexy wrecker engine, I blew the head gasket on that.
Yeah.
And at Sydney Motorsport Park, if I rang the wrecker afterwards and said, my engine blew up, it's your fault. Like, come on.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm on a racetrack doing 200 k's an hour.
Yeah, fair's
We
fair.
started this like for the first 3 seconds, and it was obviously cactus.
And, well, before it even went in the car, we all had our doubts.
Question
Before
marks,
I started, I said I'd drink beer out of my shoe. I don't like beer, and I don't like liquid coming off my feet. Sometimes I do. And so it's like we already were dubious about the condition of the engine anyway.
Yeah.
Like all the signs pointed to it being rooted, and it was rooted.
It was.
We're not going to be able to get any definitive answers until we can actually look inside this engine. So we're going to tear it down and see if we can find out what's gone wrong.
Go.
Oh, you want to help me lift it up?
All right, and 1, 2, 3.
Nothing's holding us.
Yep.
This stuff's not wiping off, and I know it's just the sort of the graphite coating on the MLS head gasket, but it appears that there's a lot of fretting on the surface of the head here, and fretting is obviously where you've got movement between two parts, and this shouldn't ever move if it's clamped down, but you can see between these cylinders, I'd almost say that we were breached in that area between these two. And if there's enough of a gap there, then obviously you're going to, a lot of coolant's going to end up in the motor as well. But this is probably where the compression had leaked down. I mean, when we first cranked it over, we all just said we can't hear any comp. It was just spinning freely like there was no plugs in the motor. This is aluminium, so what happens to aluminium when it exceeds a certain temperature and it's been heat cycled so many times is this becomes soft.
Yeah, right.
So if this is soft, and we don't have any tools to do a rock wool test on it, but if this head was soft, like this may never ever seal again. When you're torquing up all these bolts, you're actually not torquing it up to be a flat surface against another flat surface. This head could be soft, so when it gets hot, it's allowing it to leak.
And that's when we found the actual problem.
Isaac and I hung around last night for a bit longer. We could not find anything wrong with this engine, which was perplexing. We were tired, we were stinky, we were bleeding, and all the recipes for a bad night out, really. And but then we came in this morning and we found something.
I didn't see it though. I saw this head sitting on the ground. I even took a photo of it and went, oh, I guess it looks like it's blown a head gasket, I guess. Like it wasn't anything obvious.
Well, we didn't see it either. And we were still second guessing last night, pumping compressed air into here going, is it possible that we somehow put coolant
a bolt
in the wrong thing? But then how does coolant get from that jacket into here? Well, we now know, people, that just before we look at this, I just want to go through again the wrecker's listing, which is tested guaranteed. That's the listing, tested guaranteed. Guaranteed's in big letters. How did they test that? How did they test it when there's a hole in it?
The comp wouldn't have been great, hey? The comp test.
No comp.
Look at it. Now, I've been messaging them backwards and forwards. I sent them a photo of that and then they said, send us more photos. I don't know what more photos is meant to show.
Or after it dropped its guts of coolant everywhere, they said, can you fill it up again so we can see it drop its guts of coolant instead of the 10 litres that's under the car?
Yeah, so then they asked for some more photos and I've been sending them photos of like this and the receipt so they can kind of, I don't know if they're suggesting that maybe it's a Photoshop. I don't know. But first of all, that's been like that for a very long time. Absolutely. And we can see that because because that's corroded. If that had just broken off in the last day or week or 2 weeks, that would be all clean.
Isaac, what's your theory, man? What's your theory?
My theory, this motor has been ridiculously run hot. Like, I mean, to the point where it's been probably getting hot for a long time too. Like this is not something that's happened in one sort of event, one drive. Yeah. This has been an engine that's not been serviced, not cared for, probably had no coolant in it, probably also been in an accident, judging by all the different coloured paint we found on the block and the various parts. I mean, yesterday's giveaway, we found sensors that were melted.
Yes.
Like it'd been in a fire. I mean, but you don't see this from a fire. This is 100% neglect.
Or / stolen car.
Yeah.
Right? A car that's just sitting on the rev limit the whole way.
Yeah, trying to
like Marty and Too Sexy down the main straight at Sydney Motorsport
Pretty much.
Park.
What about rust on the back of the valves? Because that was the first thing I noticed that made me sort of question it. Because on the outside of the engine, when they say steam cleaned, often that just means the outside is steam cleaned. And you go, wow, it looks so shiny and new. We pulled the rocker cover off, that was disgusting. We pulled the sump off, that was grot. I mean, we knew along the way that it wasn't going to be great. But also, we put in engines like that before and they work and they go for years. So you don't really know. But rust on the back of the valves, what's the theory with that?
It's either maybe the thing had been through some water and
maybe
it hydrolocked before and this was its pressure release when it happened. Maybe this went through a flood.
Yeah.
Maybe more simply than that, it was a really bad engine, hadn't been looked after, yes, but maybe the wreckers pulled it out and actually stored it outside for a period. Yeah. Valves don't stay closed just because your engine is off. Yeah. There's certain cylinders with valves open, so we're talking moisture ingress, heat, condensation, things that would just happen over time, and this could have sat there for 3 years.
Isn't this a 15-year-old engine?
It is.
Now, is it possible, because I've just got another message from this guy, he said this motor was run up and was running fine. How? How does it run fine with a hole in it?
Despite this hole though, like last night, I was reviewing our photos, that the head gasket wasn't sealing on the barrels.
Yeah, because we knew that there was something wrong with number 4. But look in here.
Look at the sleeves. You can actually see that there was only these small areas that were sealing on the sleeves. These 2 centre cylinders have been cooked. And these, just to clarify, these are iron sleeves in an aluminium block. So when you get to a certain temperature, these start to move independent of each other.
Yeah.
So these could actually sink into the block or they can actually raise to that deck. So they may have had no comp And one cylinder may have been trying to fire off, and there was no chance the back one was. So I don't see any chance that this was running as a tested motor, like zero chance.
So it's pushing it back onto the customer in a way, isn't it, by sort of going, look, we're going to sell 100 engines and 3 of them will be bad. That's 3% hit rate. We'll deal with that. We'll pay the freight back. We'll refund them. Or just refund them because you've already put the labour in.
Yeah.
And so you just give them the money back and go, problem solved. Everyone's happy. But is everyone happy? Like, it takes a lot of time.
But don't guarantee it then. Like, just go, you know what? Like, you know, these engines might cost $1,200. We're going to sell it for $500 because it's untested. That's on you. You still get warranty anyway. The problem is it took so long to get down here. You get 30 days warranty. Today is day 29.
Yeah.
So, but it took a couple of weeks to get down here. So your first half of the warranty is gone. So really what we're going to do now is we're going to put all of this in a box.
First, we're going to take that out.
And send it back to them. The other thing, though, is that they go, I'll send it back and we'll give you a refund. So you get your $700 back. What about your coolant? What about your oil? Yeah. What about your spark plugs? Yeah. What about your time? I mean, we're hanging out because we want to do it and because but what if you'd just taken this to a shop?
Did you look at the melted piston? Did you just notice that? I did. Sorry, that edge of the piston's melted. We were so tired last night, we missed all of this. That is completely obvious to me and just clarifies how hot this motor got.
Yeah, okay. Wow.
I just don't know how you could beat on a Suzuki Swift that hard to do this much damage unless you'd pump 30 pounds of boost through the thing and no fuel.
Hole in the radiator, drain all the coolant, ignore the temperature gauge, keep driving, cook it, take it to the wreckers and go, you know, give them $500 for it. They sell the engine for $700, keep the change.
I've got a plan, Martin.
Okay.
Of
course you do.
No, because here's the thing. When you get given lemons, you know what you do? Throw that shit in the bin and go buy an orange. So I'm going to buy another engine.
Yeah, good.
Not from them. From
That's
someone else.
Probably a wise move.
And then all we do is the next 2 to 3 episodes of Mighty Car Mods is just the last 2 or 3 we've already done again. Because those videos are still just as relevant. We're going to have to do the exact same thing again.
If you want to watch how
we're going to
swap... Oh, for real? It's like the 4th tool that's gone in there. If you want to watch how we're going to swap a 1.5 into our Jimny, just rewind the previous episode and watch it again and imagine it's actually a different engine. Then it's basically the same, because it's going to happen.
On Facebook, we'll go, hey guys, the new engine's going in, and I'll just link the old video.
Yeah, and except if we did it again, it'd just be a bit more cranky. We've got to do this again. Oh, no. I dropped it in the oil.
You just dropped that in the oil, deliberately.
Not on purpose.
I
didn't do it on purpose.
You just dropped it in the oil deliberately.
What's for lunch?
It's not lunchtime, man.
What time
it's breakfast time.
Is it?
We have to pull this shit out now.
Oh, yeah, we do.
And then we have to send it back.
And it was at this point that Marty decided to leave the wreckers a special drawing on top of one of the pistons.
This is the most juvenile thing I've ever seen. And we will be blurring all of that so that we don't get demonetized.
No, it's just, all I've written is do not buy.
It makes it pretty awkward when we return that now, but also pretty awesome. Thanks everyone. See you next time. If you want to support the show, you can get a Mighty Car Mods hoodie. You can get a Mighty Car Mods hat. You can fender covers.
Let's pull this motor out. That'll be so fun. Let's do it. The first step
is don't buy an engine that's shit. If you think you're getting your pliers back, think again, because I'm holding these suckers hostage until I get my damn refund.